Hey everybody, it is day 16 of the 35 for Life challenge. It is a Saturday, so it is technically my rest day. And today I am going to talk about sort of the foundation of that faith and the who I'm becoming, right? And so, who is a very interesting question. By the way, if you don't know the challenge, basically go from homeless to building my life out in 35 days or less. Because of mental mastery, check out the journey. We're on day 16 so far. You can check out the other journeys. Yesterday, I spoke about sort of from whom I get my joy, especially when things get really, really hard. And today, I want to talk about where and how that leads to faith. Because when you have joy in your life, it leads to an ability of trust, not only in, who you are. And like for me, the foundation of my joy, the foundation of my everything is Jesus. Moving beyond that, I realize the next thing is me, myself, right? And having faith in myself. Because part of belief, right, is faith comes from this corrupted, so the sin of that usually shows a lack of faith is usually the sin of envy. And that's when you want other things that others have, right? Or you don't want them to prosper as well. And I've definitely had moments of that. I think especially I was watching this show, The Three Body Problem, yesterday, and this is a really good show, by the way. There's one scene in it that is like very horrific. Like there's one really intense scene. If you've seen it, you know what scene I'm talking about. It's the one on the it's the one with the boat. I'll just say that everybody knows if you've seen the show or if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. That was a very horrific, terrifying scene. Kind of like nightmare fuel level stuff. Outside of that, I definitely recommend giving the show a watch. I loved it. But yeah, I definitely like. I'm not going. I'm not going out of my way to watch that scene again because that was pretty. That was a pretty rough scene for me. Having said that, I think one of the things that I've really was feeling sort of like a twinge for was because there's these four core central characters and they have this incredible friendship and these amazing relationships with each other and they're really supportive and they have this history. And I'm 35 years old and well, I'm not 35 yet, but I'm 34, turning 35. And try as I might, I've found that the more I've focused on my relationships, the more they've fallen away from me. And I started realizing that is because, in a way, I'm sort of going from an old life to a new life. And that there's a different level of person and interaction and relationship I'm trying to have. I think before, a lot of the relationships I had were based upon exchange, whether it was conscious or unconscious. Now, all relationships, there's exchange present, right? But that isn't the foundational reasoning behind relationships, right? So just because there's exchange in relationships doesn't mean that's why we make relationships, right? Because if you always calculate and think of relationships based upon the exchange you're getting, you're always going to go in with a certain level of relationship. And when I go into these relationships, there was sort of this unconditional giving. And I want to be able to continue to do that. But I realized I was with people who, and spending time with people who don't see or view relationships like that. And especially coming back here, and coming back to Utah, I just realized, like, as a standard, that's not really how people think here. It's very much conditional, like conscious or unconscious, assumptive, like transactional relationships. That's just the basis of how people think here. And I realized a lot of those relationships since then I've been falling away as a result, right? And it's interesting because as my relationships abroad and the people farther away from me deepen, I'm noticing the ones that were kind of closer to me as I came from my origin point are beginning to fall away. And I'm realizing that I have to let those ones go. And it's very interesting to me that I think moving forward into my life, Like it's almost like I'm literally kind of dying. Like this first third of my life, I think there's going to be very, very few people. Like there's only, I think only one person I can see functionally being in my life that was there before, right? I mean, one friend, I'll say, one or two friends. I'll say two, right? And the one friend I do have who I know is going to be there, he's been there forever, right? So I feel really good about that. But he lives on the other side of the planet. And he's my best friend, and he's been my best friend. And I'm starting to realize, though, why he's been so far away for so long, because I realized in the environment I was in, there was a incompatibility there. And I realized it's been incompatible all my life, but I'm now at this point where I have to really go through this growth and transformation, this metamorphosis, and leave this behind. So it kind of makes sense that while I've been doing this 35 for life challenge, it's like almost this zenith, this apex of what this old life can become, and it's like I have to like emotionally transfigure myself from who I was to who I am going to become, right? Because next tomorrow is is going to be about sovereignty and who sovereignty is, and I'm realizing as I having faith in myself, I'm freeing myself from those burdens, and I realize I can only really be in relationships where I have that freedom and where others have that freedom. Because I realized when you feel free to give unconditionally, you can only really be around others who feel that same way. Because when they don't feel that same way, they don't understand what you're doing or why you're doing it. And so everything comes off as deceptive or manipulative. And it's not because it's that way, it's because for them, they would never give at that level unless they were going to get something. And I realize it's been investing in these relationships that has reduced me. But it's not because of the investing, it's because of who I've been investing in. So it's like, well, Oni, why are you? So it's like, are you just investing in other people to get something out of it? It's like, no, because it's not that I'm choosing to invest in people to get something out of it. It's that in order to live, actually live, I have to invest in people who are willing and capable of investing at a higher level. So it's not even that I'm getting rid of these people, it's more that just I'm adjusting my focus of intent. And I think as you adjust just that focus of intent, some people are more okay with it than others, because some people are okay with being left behind and some and understand because they love you. Others feel like you owe them something, and that they're entitled to a certain level of energy or backpacking of the relationship because that was the standard. But then when you say, well, no, that's not the standard anymore. I still want to have you in my life, but from now on, like I need to see this level of interaction. So it's the standard is not coming from what I get in return. The standard is coming from what I want to see in my life and who I'm choosing to engage with. I don't know if that change makes sense, but this is less about what is going on and what I get, but about the why. This is where really foundationally we get down into why we're having relationships, why we're having these people in our lives, why are we doing this, why are we living, why are we living from day to day. This is really about the standards and the level of integrity I'm choosing to live with, and not only finding those who are in line with it, but finding those who appreciate it, support it, and value it, right? It's another thing for people to say, oh, that's nice, Oni. It's another thing for people to be like, well, Oni, I'm also doing this thing. Let's do this together. Because that's the level of mission I'm on, right? I'm trying to do something that's very ambitious and very difficult. So it's very, and I'm still bound by time and space. I still have a physical body. And as much as I'm working to transcend that, I still have to work within those limitations. So, working within those limitations, I have to make decisions about who I spend my time with. And that's not about what I get in return, it's about why I am living. That's the fundamental difference, guys. It's about I'm choosing not to invest in these people. Not, and I'm not cutting them out. Some people will say, "Oh, you're cutting them out," and I've used. Some people will use this word, and I'm like, I've never said that. Or if I've said that, that's not what I'm fundamentally meaning. And I remember using that term, cutting people out. That's not a term I use. And I remember another friend said, he's like, you'd said that. And I was like, I didn't say that because I don't believe in cutting people out. I don't believe people are this cancer that need to be cut out of my body. I don't believe it's like that. All it means is that I'm not going to give them energy anymore, which means if that they are a cancer, they will fall, they will reduce themselves because they're not being helpful. But if they are helpful, they'll only become more helpful. But I'm not investing in them because they're a cancer or because they're helpful. I'm investing in them because it's ultimately, I feel committed to a certain vision of my life and to a certain vision of the world. And I feel consecrated to that vision. And I'm realizing more and more, like I was texting and showing this video, and it was crazy how like I showed this video to a few people, and so many people were like, "Oh, this is so cool. I like this. It was nice. I wish more of them put that comment and liked it." But whatever. But what was very interesting is that there was one particular person who was like, "Well, I don't get it. I just don't understand it." And I remember just shaking my head and being like, it's funny how I've seen again and again, like, the law of vibration and energy is so true. And like, people who are on your level are going to get it. People who aren't on your level aren't going to get it. They're just not going to get it, right? And like, you can speak in plain language to people, and they're not going to understand it because like vibrationally it's not able to enter their being because they're not thinking like that. So you can tell them as something as common sense and as plain as you want, but if they're not thinking about things like that, if they don't operate on that level, nothing you're saying is going to make any sense to them. And I'm just starting to realize that. And I'm just starting to be okay with it. And just as especially as I've been interacting with more and more people, I'm just starting to see like, okay, like there's certain people and certain operations and certain ways of life that are incompatible with these people. And I'm starting to realize that I want to invite people into my life, but really what I need to do is start building. And I just need to build, 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 and the right people will come. And I've been trying to take these people or invite people from my old life. But the reality is, it's like only people who want to be there will be there. And just having enough faith that as I build, the right people will come. And that's been tough, guys. That's been tough. But I'm realizing that's the only way. So my focus now is going a lot more internal. I'm super excited. The business is getting very clear, and I'm knowing what I need to do for Prolific, and some of the stages are set, and I've gotten to the point where I don't need too many people. By the way, if you're focused or thinking that you want to join the 7 Steps to Mastery program with Prolific, price goes up April 1st, well, April 2nd. April 1st at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The price on all the programs is going to double. So if you watch the webinar and you see the pricing there, it's all going to double after April 1st. So if you're interested in getting on it, I suggest talking to me soon and getting in on the program because all the prices are going up. We're getting near the end with our groups, so it's looking really good. But yeah, things are coming along, coming together, and I've just decided and I'm committed to just moving forward and trusting in the promises of God and myself and believing in myself, guys, because that's what it does. So I'm a little under halfway, but I'm really starting to see that I got this. Progress has not looked the way I've wanted it to. I've been really focused on some external KPIs, like how much money I was making, how many people have been coming into the program. But there's been a lot of internal work done, not only within myself, but really within the company. It's been amazing. So the focus is shifting. Eliza and The Author comes out, and I'm working right now to get those Kickstarters up and out. It's taken way longer than I thought it would, but I'm glad that it took the time it did because now the direction of them is far more clear and I know what I need to do and how I need to present it. So I'm super happy about that. Anyway, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay calm. It's just a game. Peace.